We're going to stick with the markets now to work out whether these valuations are looking a bit overstretched or whether there's more to go. Junbei Liu, the portfolio manager at Tribeca's Alpha Plus Fund. Junbei, always good to have you on the program. I just want to know, the records keep on going, but the point is that our economy, we know, is very much in a slump. It's slow. So how do you recognise the fact that companies need to make more profits to justify their share prices? Otherwise, this boom looks a bit illusory.
Absolutely. That's a question everyone's asking. But look, I tell you what, share market always look forward 12-month time. So what the share market is telling you today at all-time high is that in 12-month time, our economy will do better. We will have rate cut coming through, whether it's later this year or whether early next year. Things will start to improve. And a lot of feedback actually talking about consumer. Now, consumer has been doing tough for a very long time, but they seem to be somewhat stabilizing and getting a little bit better. So that's all very positive for what is to come in terms of earnings.
OK, but you talk to a lot of companies. What are those companies right now telling you about trading conditions? I'd imagine most of them would be telling you it's not that easy right now, unless you're in the tech space. Maybe some of those might be going OK, but a lot of companies would be giving you really not the rosiest glow of the world right now.
Look, absolutely. So demand is slowing, consumer is a little bit tough, and then the margin is a little bit tough because the rising cost inflation is still there, particularly here in Australia. But they are a little bit hopeful, given the tax cut we just had. A lot of consumer companies are seeing somewhat of a green shoot, not significant, but a little bit better, and they're hoping for a better Christmas this year.
Well, given the fact your Alpha Plus fund can go into the, you can go long or you can go short. You can do whatever you like, right?
That's right.
Now, there's been a lot of short sellers being absolutely hammered over this past couple of months because of the record market ongoing. Tell me your own view of how you've sat with your own portfolio during this time.
Yeah, we always believe never bet against the markets. We short the companies that have earnings problems. And for us, we put shorts across every sector there is. So in a way, it gives us a hedge. That's why people call it a hedge fund. We can buy the company we like in the unfavorable sector, and we can short the companies within that sector. So we can buy anything at any point in time at a very good price. At the same time, still to be able to offset and hedge the risk on the downside. So it's been a great market for us.
Okay, but the reality is, even right now in Australia, but especially in America, if you've got a portfolio that really doesn't have, that's underweight in, say, the banks and underweight in technology stocks, you're probably just treading water at the moment. You're not really doing too much, are you?
Look, absolutely. Look, I think for portfolio managers, they need to make a decision. Banks, the reason they have rallied is their earning hasn't been too bad. Their earning actually has been growing. In fact, they're one of the big earnings upgrades that came through was banks. And then they have all the capital return and the like. So for me, I'm reasonably pragmatic. They're super expensive. But there's really nothing against for them to collapse. So in a way, if the share market, I do believe share market will continue to rally, they might get left behind. But I don't see the collapse in the share prices, given our economy is not doing too badly.
Okay, but then, as we talked about materials prices there, the mining stocks, because iron ore stocks came off, the oil prices came off, energy prices, so a lot of those big companies that would normally drive our market forward, they've actually been lagging, the BHPs, the Rios, though they have picked up just in the past few weeks or so.
That's right, and I do think they will be the next leg of growth. So the growth will come back. China's somewhat disappointing, but it is turning the corner. So you just think about in terms of rate cut cycle, we already start rate cutting around the world. We've got China now stimulating. What can go more right? So I really think we're at that tipping point of the next sustained bull market.
So I've just got to ask you about that, because China, with its stimulus, a lot of people were disappointed by the amount of stimulus they handed out. They were pretty ambivalent about that, because thinking that China needed more stimulus to get its economy going. What's your own sense about where China sits as a key and important sort of, if you like, determinant as to the direction of the Australian stock market?
Look, absolutely. So I think that stimulus is there and it's good enough. The thing is, share market always expecting a hockey stick recovery, and it's not coming. So it's just a slow recovery. We're seeing green shoots everywhere there in China. It just takes time. Commodity prices already recovered somewhat. We're seeing a little bit of improvement in the resources companies, but I think there's more to come in that sector, because they have underperformed way too much and they represent a lot of value at the moment.
So, Junbei Liu, I saw reports in the paper yesterday saying that you are striking out on your own in a funds management company.
Absolutely.
Is this true? Is what's happening here?
Oh, look, absolutely, it's true. I'm very excited. So I'll be taking over the Alpha Plus fund, lifting the entire fund into my own new business, and effective 1st of January next year. And everything remains the same, except with a great dedicated team. So we're very excited to be able to launch the fund with $1.5 billion, which I have run over the last 5.5 years.
Well, you've been running that fund, as I was saying, for quite a long time.
That's
so this
right.
is quite an entrepreneurial thing for you to do.
Oh,
one other thing before I let you go, you do a lunch each year, like a charitable lunch.
That's right.
Which brings the best ideas from the markets. You're doing this next week, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. So I do this lunch for the RAISE Foundation, which is a provider youth mentoring services. And then I bring all the finance professionals in this lunch and to help raise funds for them to provide services to help mentoring young children.
All right, if you look and Google that, RAISE the Youth Mentoring Foundation, I'm sure you'll find that lunch next week, which will be in Sydney. Junbei Liu, this market going to keep going, by the way?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Very high.
Good to have you on the program today.
Thank
Many
you.
thanks for your time.